What's up, you guys? Happy Saturday. I don't know about you guys, but I'm pretty excited that it's the weekend and pretty excited that tomorrow is the Super Bowl. Is anybody else excited for the Super Bowl? I'm more so excited for the halftime show, but that's neither here nor there. So, I'm just getting some people in the room real quick, guys. So in the meantime, in between time, why don't you drop in the chat where you are tuning in from today. As always, I am in the beautiful city of Sacramento, California. And if you didn't see what the title of the conversation is today, you may want to stay tuned so you can get a dose of this, because I think it's a pretty controversial topic. I think that it's going to be a little heavy. And I really wanted to do this conversation because I think that it's important. I think that even as single women, because I'm single, I think that it's important to understand this concept, because sometimes when we are single, we get so much into our masculine that we don't allow our femininity to flourish when we do get an opportunity to be in a relationship and things like that. So before I get way too into it, you guys, drop in the chat how you are feeling, what city you are from. I always like to find out who these conversations are touching, who they're hitting, who's being impacted by this, right? So, Johnny, what's up, big dog? He says he's watching the Super Bowl for the commercials. I feel that. They always got some good stuff lined up. So I'm going to just jump right into it, guys, because it's Saturday. I've got a huge day ahead of me, and so I just really wanted to get to this conversation because it has been heavy on my mind, and I really, really want to talk about it. Michael, good morning from Denver. Well, I'm here in Sacramento, so hello. So the title of my conversation today is The Submissive Woman. So you might be asking, what is a submissive woman, right? So to me, a submissive woman is someone who is submissive to her husband, someone who is submissive to the right person, right? But it means to let somebody else lead. It means to give somebody else authority over your life, right? Now, before I get too into it, this doesn't mean that she's a doormat or that your opinions are not valued and respected, that your voice isn't heard. That's not what this means at all, because when you are submissive to the right person, then everything will flow naturally. You will be respected and it will be a pleasant experience, but we're going to get into that, okay? So what does submission look like? It looks like allowing a man to lead, right? I think that it's really allowing him to lead in the relationship, lead in your life, lead in your family. But I think that more so it means allowing a man to truly love you, because when a man really loves you, that's when you're able to be truly submissive, right? You have to give him that authority over your life, and you have to allow him to be in his masculinity so that he can lead properly, right? When a man loves a woman, he wants to take care of her. He wants to provide for her. He wants to make sure that she's good, right? And if you don't submit to that, then you will have this energy about you like, oh, I got it. Oh, I can do it by myself. I don't need nobody, right? And that's your masculine energy. So you're not able to really flourish in your femininity at that time, and you're really pushing him away because you have more masculine energy than you do feminine energy, right? And when you operate like that, you're carrying a burden that isn't even really necessary, because when you have a masculine man, when you have somebody that you can submit to, he's there and he can take that burden off you so that you can flourish in your femininity, right? So what submission doesn't look like is abuse, right? I know that when people think about submission, the word submission, they kind of get this nasty taste in their mouth, right? Like, oh, well, that means I have to be under his law, or he has say so over me, and things like that, right? But it doesn't look like dictatorship. It doesn't look like control. It doesn't look like slavery. It doesn't look like ownership. It really doesn't look like any of that. It's actually a really, really beautiful thing if you can get to that point with someone. So how do you know who deserves your submissiveness? How do you know who deserves your femininity? Because it's not for everybody. And this is where discernment, you have to use discernment. You have to be able to decide, you know what, this is the person who's going to get my full submissive. I will be honest with you. I've never had anyone that I can be all the way submissive to. I've trusted people, but after time, you know, it just showed that that wasn't the right person, right? So this is where courtship and dating becomes so important, because I think that in today's society, everybody wants a label, everybody wants a title, everybody wants to be so-and-so's boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever it is, right? I think that you have to take at least a year or two. You have to take at least a year or two to get to know somebody, their morals, their values, their principles. Are they going to be able to lead you? Do you trust this person? Because really, I think submission is putting your full trust into somebody else. Because I think that the man, you know, in the Bible, it says, in Ephesians verses 22, I believe, it says that the man is the head to the woman, like Jesus is to the church, right? So we have to submit to our spouse, our husbands, the way that we would submit to God, right? And so in order to really do that, you have to fully trust this person. And that doesn't come easily. It takes time to get there. And so that's why you have to really take the time to get to know somebody, date that person, see who they are. Can you trust them with your life? Can you trust them with making all the important decisions? Because when you are submissive, when you do decide to get married, the submission will always come down to him making the final decision. You have a say-so, you have an opinion, and if that man loves you and cares for you and cherishes you, then he will hear you out. He will definitely hear you out. But at the end of the day, you leave it to him to make the final decision, because he is the leader in the relationship, right? So that's how you know who you can be submissive to. So ladies, don't ever think that, you know, you being submissive is going to make a man love you, because it's not. It doesn't work like that. He has to have certain qualities, certain traits. He has to be the leader. He has to be operating in his masculine energy. There's just so much that goes into it. So don't be submissive to everybody and anybody and think that, oh, okay, well, I'm submissive and so he's going to love me. That's not the way it works. Use discernment. Use good judgment, okay? So you might ask, what are some advantages to being a submissive woman? Well, first and foremost, when you are able to be submissive like that, you're letting go of a lot of masculine energy, which means that you're able to operate in your full femininity, which doesn't come often. And it's really, really a beautiful thing, right? When you are submissive, it brings polarity to the relationship. And what that means is there's balance between the masculine and the feminine, right? You are able to operate as this beautiful being, just so nurturing, so soft. You are able to become the woman that God intended you to be, because we were not intended to be men. I know that there's a lot of hearsay about, you know, gender roles and society doesn't conform and things like that. But when God created man and woman, he didn't create them equal. If you look at a man's physique, right? A man's physique is a lot different than a woman's. A man's physique is built for endurance, for sport, for hunting, for for a lot more physical, right? Where women, we are created to be more nurturers. We have the body to create babies and carry them for 9 months, right? So there is differences. So we do have to realize that. And so when we are submissive, it brings that polarity. When you're able to be truly submissive with a man, I think that it brings so much more passion to the relationship. I think that men, in ways, they crave a woman who can be in her full femininity, and because of that, it makes him want her even more, right? So a man, if he sees a woman who's always nagging and constantly arguing and things like that, that's probably the woman that he's gonna stay away from. But if she's soft, if she's genuine, if she's kind, if she's nurturing, then he's probably gonna always want to be around her, always want to be involved with her, always want to have conversations, right? So there's more passion. Better sex. When you are able to submit to someone, when you are able to be submissive in your relationship with your husband, you're going to have a deeper connection. And when you have a deeper connection, that means you have better sex. You guys know how to read each other. You guys know your wants and needs. You're very open with each other. He knows that you trust him. And because you trust him with everything, it's going to make him want to take care of you more, right? Not only that, when you are submissive, you are able to make each other better. Like I said, operating in your feminine and your masculine. You both become great. You push him to be a better man, and he pushes you to be a greater woman, especially when you operate with God at the center. When you are able to operate with God at the center, this allows the man to also know that he is the leader in the relationship, but God is the leader of life, right? So always, always, always leaving it in God's hands. So that makes him humble. That makes him remember his place as well. Because women aren't the only ones with rules to this thing, right? Men have specific rules too. When a woman is submissive, he really has to care for her. He really has to be her provider. He has to, it's kind of like a son with his mother, right? If his mother is being attacked or something like that, usually the son is going to want to protect her. And that's that innocence. That's a man's instinct. So when we're submissive, we're able to allow him to operate in that energy while we're able to operate in our softness, right? So if you are a woman of today's modern society where we have more masculinity than we do femininity, which I can't really blame us, because in Western culture, men are a lot weaker than what they used to be, right? And I'm not trying to diss anybody. I'm not trying to, I'm just stating facts here. Men aren't what they used to be. Men aren't as masculine as they used to be because women have become more masculine. Women have become the breadwinners. Women have become the providers. Women are the ones who are taking the lead in a lot of things. And we need more men who can take that role so that the burden can be off of us, right? So what are some ways that you can bring out your femininity so that you can attract a more masculine man, right? First and foremost, take care of yourself. I know that seems like shallow to say, but a woman who takes care of herself can take care of others, right? And it's not just, you have to be the best looking person. You have to, it's not about that. You don't have to have the biggest butt, the tiniest waist, none of that. Just take care of yourself. Make sure that you smell good, your hair is done, that you look presentable, that you know how to speak, that you know how to dress, right? Those are ways that you can be more feminine. Be supportive, not just of your husband because he's not here yet. Be supportive of people. Be someone who is looking to serve others rather than themselves, right? Don't be argumentative. I think that there's a time and a place to have conversations, And when energies are high or people have disagreements, it's okay to take a step back and then come back and regroup later, especially if your emotions are all over the place. Yes, we do that. Women women have a lot of emotions, and so we need to be able to keep control of those emotions, right? I know that it's easier said than done, but once you create the habit, then it gets easy. Don't be so argumentative. Don't be so nagging. Start thinking of ways to communicate your wants and needs that are going to bring about a positive impact to whoever it is that you're dealing with, right? Asking for help. This is huge. And I say this more so for me too, because I've been, doing things on my own for a long time, and sometimes it's hard for me to ask for help. But I've learned that in order for you to really operate in your femininity, you have to understand that you can't do it all by yourself. Nobody can, not even a man can, right? So make sure that you are letting your ego go, putting your pride aside, and being able to ask for that help, right? And you might just ask the right person. So let that person know what he means to you. Let him know that he is helpful, he is needed, he is wanted, right? Be more soft, be gentle, right? Don't be so rough around the edges. I know we thuggish, ruggish bones sometimes, but you got to bring it back. You got to reel it in. Be a little more soft. Be, yeah, that's how I could put it. In order to be more feminine, you have to be a little more soft around the edges, okay? If you're used to cussing a lot, or if you're used to fighting a lot, use other things. Use your words. Be vulnerable a little bit. Tell people how you really feel. And when you're able to be vulnerable, you're able to really operate in that feminine energy. And I'm still working on that, Selena. I am, because sometimes when you have to take the lead so often, it's hard to switch back and forth. There has to be some type of balance, but you have to be able to do that, right? Be confident. Feminine women are confident. They know who they are. They know what they bring to the table. They are okay with everything that they are, because they are continually working on being the best them. There is no competition. The only competition that there is between her and the person that she was yesterday. So keep your head up. Walk with confidence. We have to understand that there's always going to be someone who's prettier. There's always going to be someone who's smarter. There's always going to be someone that looks better, thinks better. I mean, there's always someone, okay? There are so many people in this world, so stop comparing yourself to others and just be confident in who you are and your gifts and what you have to offer the world, right? So, with that being said, guys, I hope that this really helps somebody today, because when I do these podcasts, I'm really talking to me too. And I feel like it was really helpful. It's things that I know, but it's still things that I need to work on, right? And so I hope that whoever sees this video understands the importance of being able to be submissive in a relationship, that they understand the importance of being able to operate in your feminine energy. I hope that if you are having issues in your relationship and you're not really trusting the person that you decide today, or it gets your wheels turning a little bit as to, what, is this really the person who I can trust fully and really be submissive with? Because when you are able to be submissive with someone, that's when the relationship will flourish. When you are with someone that you can be completely submissive to, that is the person that you need to be with. So I hope this helps somebody. If you know someone who can benefit from this conversation, if you enjoyed this conversation, make sure you press that like button and that share button. If you have any feedback, any comments, drop them in that little box down there. And I love to hear the feedback. I love to hear other people's perspectives. if there's ever a conversation that, you know, a topic that you want to talk about or that you want me to talk about, then hop in my DM. Let me know. I'm always open to ideas. I love doing this conversation. I love having conversations because I think that as we learn, it's our duty to share what we learn, to help other people grow, because a lot of people don't feel safe when they don't know. And when you hear it from somebody else, it might help. So I appreciate you guys hopping on this live today. I love you as always. Have a wonderful, wonderful Saturday. For those of you who I will see next weekend, I'm super, super excited. Shoot me a text. Let me know if you're going to be there. Yeah, that way I can make sure that we have everything that we need. But enjoy the Super Bowl tomorrow, guys. Enjoy the Super Bowl. I hope that if you're rooting for a team, that your team wins. If you're there for the commercials and Rihanna, then be prepared, because I know she is going to bring it. So, guys, with that being said, I love you to life. I appreciate you. Make sure that you like and subscribe to my YouTube channel, to my Apple Podcast, and hit the follow button. I appreciate the love. I hope you guys have an amazing day, and I will catch you guys next time. Peace.